As long as I was going after the crooks that didn't have badges, I was everybody's hero.
All right, Vic, we have gathered, and once again, you're wearing a T-shirt that appears to be 20 to 30 years aged and vintage. What is this? This is Rhinos. This is Rhinos. This is the movie you made.
This is the movie I made, Rhinos. And then I wrote the book that is a sequel to Rhinos, the movie.
Right.
And the book is Rhinos, Sharks, and Unicorns.
Good book. Available on the website.
Available on the website. Rhinos, Sharks, and Unicorns. It's a hero's journey. It's fictional. It's funny, but it's got a lot of spiritual messages in it. It's about evolution of consciousness.
It's a very good book, Vic. Mm-hmm. I loved it. And it's about a couple lawyers, kind of hacks. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious, actually.
Yeah. And the Rhino, Sharks, and Unicorns are patterned after 3 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, all except death.
Oh.
Yeah.
Death follows.
Yeah. And I'll explain in Rhinos 2 how the horsemen of the apocalypse play into that. But yeah, Rhinos. I made this movie with Adam Warren and Chad Nell.
Yes, sir.
They were friends of mine. Adam is still a really good friend of mine. Adam was with me in Miami at the American Trial Lawyers
when you met Spike Lee.
When I met Spike Lee, who still hasn't called me back. Spike Lee, call me back.
Come on, man.
Call me back, man. You got my card. You wrote down my phone number. You were interested in the story. This COVID thing can't last forever. And let me know you're listening to my podcast and get somebody writing the screenplay. And if you don't have anybody to write it, let me know. I'll write it for you. It's
got some time on my hands.
Yeah, I worked on the screenplay for Rhinos.
Right.
Some of my best jokes got cut out, and I'm kind of upset about that. So when we bumped this thing, I've still got it on 35 millimeter. Mm-hmm. You can't find it anywhere. We were like the last movie ever made that was shot on film that wasn't a multi-million-dollar movie.
Right. It's expensive to shoot on film.
Oh man!
Just the silver content of the film makes the film alone incredibly expensive to purchase.
I know, and I was going down and buying film that was about to expire, and talking with them and getting them down on the price, saying, well, you can sell it to me for 10% of what you're asking for it. Or in 3 weeks, you're going to have to take it off the shelf.
Right.
And that's the way I was making my movie cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this might even have something written on the back.
Let's see. It says, look at me, now look at you. Oh, yeah, there was a line from the movie.
That was a line from the movie that they used to say to each other all the time. Brick and Mace, the 2 main characters.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Brick and Mace.
Brick and Mace. It's kind of funny because their names kind of tell their personalities. Brick was a guy with a heart of gold, but dumb as a brick. Mace was smart, but he was as caustic as mace. Like getting sprayed in the face with mace. Yeah.
He was sprayed in the face with perfume, wasn't he?
Oh, in the movie. He was. Yeah, because they were selling knockoff perfume on the street. Yeah.
We need to get it up because one cool thing about the movie too, Vic, is you have a cameo in there.
I do. I play Roger the Rager.
You're in the movie as well.
Yeah.
How old is the movie?
When did it
come out?
In the
it was the 90s.
Late 90s, maybe 98, 97, somewhere in there. So, and we had these shirts made for the premiere. Yeah. We actually premiered it at a great theater in L.A., in Hollywood, actually. And then we entered it in the New York Independent Film and Video Festival.
Right, which I was going to say. I think you've got a... Yeah, it's back there, right
back
behind
here,
you.
1999 festival, Rhinos.
There it is.
Best feature film.
Cool, dude.
Best feature film at the New York Independent Film and Video. And
Flagstaff Film Fest here.
Yeah,
too?
we
Flagstaff
won
International finalist.
Finalist in Flagstaff
in the low budget category.
The low budget,
man.
yeah. Anything under $1 million is low budget.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, yeah. Back then,
man, it's expensive.
Back then, probably low budget. Now is even more money.
It's crazy, man.
Because, they say they made that movie, what was it, Mariachi or something like that? Robert Rodriguez's first movie for $5,000.
I don't know.
That's not true. That's just not true. He shot the first thing for $5,000 and shopped it around saying, I've only got $5,000 in it. But then, man, they spent a few $100,000 on top of that, polishing it and getting it ready.
Right.
Movie making is expensive.
Yeah.
And that was before digital.
When you're still doing by tape. Mm-hmm. Splicing and all that. Oh.
Yeah. That's where...
Now what I want to be doing with my time.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. But rhinos. And someday when we get time, we're going to have that bounce to digital. We're going to take it straight from 35 millimeter to digital. And when that happens, people, I'm giving it to the public for free.
Yay!
We're going to just put it on the internet and let people watch it.
We're going to create a new website called VicFlix.
VicFlix, yeah. Yeah, because we made some more movies, too. We did Rhinos. We did Blood, Sweat, and Teeth about...
MMA, early MMA fighting.
Yeah, it was one of the first movies ever made about that. And my title has been stolen a few times, Blood, Sweat, and Teeth.
Yeah.
And we also did Rage in the Cage.
Rage in the Cage.
Which that title has been stolen too. Actually, you could probably find those movies on the internet because those movies were stolen from me.
They were?
They were. I found it on a website one time where they were playing my movie, and I put a comment on there that said, this is my movie, dudes. Look at the credits. It says Vic Feazell producer, Vic Feazell executive producer. Mm-hmm. I got all the paperwork. I paid for this movie. I got a message back saying, your comment has been removed because it was inappropriate.
No way.
And so I write them letters. Yeah. And there's some company out there who claims they have rights to those movies, and they don't.
No, they don't have any rights.
They don't have any rights.
Theft
I got the
of
paperwork
rights.
to prove it.
Intellectual property law.
And we also made Monster Hunter with David Carradine.
David Carradine. Rest in peace, David Carradine.
Rest in peace. I hate the way he died, but he was a cool guy to hang with.
I bet he was, man. I remember watching Kung Fu, The Legend Continues on TV back in the day.
Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to get Kung Fu taken off the air now, claiming that it's racist too, But I used to be addicted to that show when I was in high school. I loved it. And when I got to finally meet David Carradine, and we actually hung out together. And during the time I was with him, he had cleaned himself up. He wasn't drinking or anything. He was staying sober, and he did a good job for us in that movie.
Yeah.
It originally was going to be called Natural Selection, but we had some kind of problem with that title later.
Someone probably already had it.
Yeah, and had to change it to Monster Hunter, which isn't quite as good a title. But and David Carradine's half brother is in it too, who came to prominence later as I can't remember what character he played, but he was in Breaking Bad. And he was one of those crazy meth people who was going around just killing people like crazy.
Yeah.
That was David Carradine's half brother. And he was in that movie too, along with David's wife at the time, Marina. Mm-hmm. Marina Carradine, and she is a really sweet lady and still lives in Hollywood and still does some acting and modeling and really sweet lady. Yeah.
Really cool movie.
Yeah.
Or if that one's available, Monster Hunter.
I think it is.
I would think it's got to be.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's got to be.
It's worth the watch, and I've got a cameo in it too.
You do?
All right, we have we got some updates. No, we got some corrections from our last major podcast. We've had some mini podcasts along the way, but the last major one, I couldn't remember the name of the airport in Chicago, even though I had flown into it. And I was talking about Saul Alinsky and how he had gotten the hiring practices at the airport. Well, that's O'Hare Airport.
Oh.
My brain just wouldn't bring it to me. I kept thinking Dulles. Well, Dulles is in Virginia. I've flown into Dulles before, too, when I've been going to Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I flew into Dulles when I went to the NAACP convention in New York. No, I didn't. I flew into Kennedy, I think, for that one.
Yeah, probably Kennedy.
Yeah. And then I flew into Baltimore once, I think, when I went to D.C. And then I've flown into New York City for an NAACP.
JFK.
That Obama came and spoke to.
Oh,
and I had been a speaker at that convention as well. Much smaller audience than Obama.
Yeah.
And I understand why. I was in that audience listening to Barack Obama. So, so I want to straighten that out. Dulles, you fly to get to to Washington, and O'Hare is the one that Saul Alinsky got them to start changing their hiring practices and hiring minorities at O'Hare.
I like it.
Also, I said in that one that I don't join many things, and I said the only thing I'm a member of is I named off several legal organizations. Well, I forgot about one that I am quite proud of, and that is that I am a lifetime member of the NAACP.
You sure are.
Yes, I am. I've spoken to their conventions and to their meetings all over the United States, all over Texas, Austin, New Orleans, and in New York City. And I remember when I was flying to the one that Obama was going to be at, I set off the metal detector. And we couldn't figure out. They kept searching me, and I'd go through my wallet, and go through everything. And because that's when you could walk through with your wallet in your pocket.
Right.
And
you got to like one step before they're like, we need to come in this back room. You're like, oh, what happens in the room?
No. Yeah. And so finally I said, oh my God, I found it. And I took it out, and it was my NAACP card that was setting off the alarm, because if you're a life member, your card is made out of metal.
Nice.
It's like some thick aluminum.
Sweet platinum card.
Yeah. So if you're a lifetime member of the NAACP, they give you a card that will last your lifetime.
I like it.
Your children's lifetime.
I like it.
It's a cool card. I keep it in my jewelry box now, along with some of my keepsakes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I am a member also of the NAACP. Also, you and I were talking about the national debt.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't remember.
Turns out it's way worse than I thought.
Oh, my God. My friend John Harrell down in Austin. And if Google John Harrell, Austin, Texas, he puts out about a 30-second video once a week. He keeps it down to 30 or 40 seconds. And it's very uplifting, very spiritual, good advice. John Harrell's a good man, and he's very active in Rachel's Challenge, the anti-bullying program that grew out of the Columbine tragedy. And he's active in his church, and he's also written a good book called Killing My Father and Then Finding Him.
Right.
Which is about his relationship with his dad. And it's a good read, and I recommend it. So, John, if you're listening, just know that we love you. I recommend your book. And John told me what the national debt is.
What is it? Hit me.
I wrote it down. I couldn't believe it. 21 trillion.
Wow.
21 trillion.
That's a lot of money.
I can't count that high. Nobody can.
No, Jeff Bezos, didn't they say he was going to be the first trillionaire?
Maybe. I don't know. Probably.
That's so much money.
Yeah. Seemed like he could, treat his employees a little better if he's got that damn much money, That's the problem, is that we used to talk about the 1%. Now it's going to be the 0.1%.
Yeah.
That's going to own everything. Because once inflation kicks in, because remember last time I was talking about how when we hit $1 trillion in national debt, 1 trillion, and now we're at 21 trillion, that Newt Gingrich and Rush Limbaugh and some of those loudmouths just started raising hell over the $1 trillion national debt.
Right.
And interest rates went through the roof.
Right.
20% on mortgages, 22% on credit cards.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, funny thing about that, I just bought my first home, and my mortgage guy actually contacted me last week already because the interest rates have lowered so much because of everything going on. He said it actually is worth refinancing my home already. I haven't had this since, 6 months, 7 months I've had it for. He said the rates are so low that it's actually worth refinancing.
If there's not too much front-end money involved,
correct,
do it.
Yeah.
Do it, especially if it's one that, and make sure it's folks, if you're going to do that, make sure it's an interest rate that's locked in.
Correct. No adjustables.
No adjustables. Because a lot of people, when that interest rate started going up before, that was like maybe the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. People with adjustable mortgages, wow, they were getting thrown out of their homes left and right. Well, and the banks were ending up owning these homes they couldn't sell and then selling them for less than what had been owed on them before.
Oh, man.
You know, use your common sense. We're all going to be slaves to the big lending institutions. So use your common sense. Go out and vote. Stand in line in the rain if you have to. People stood in line in the rain to vote for me while I was under indictment, and I appreciated that. Well, this is pretty serious election coming up. We, the people, need representation. The lobbyists have been represented long enough. The pharmaceutical industry has been represented long enough. The insurance companies have been represented long enough. We need, we the people, to have some representation. So go stand in line and vote. And unless that person in office has already proven to you that they are of the people and voting in your best interest, vote them out. Vote them out. And I'm not talking party here. I'm talking about humanity.
You're talking about right and wrong, Vic.
Right and wrong.
Morals, ethics.
Yeah.
The right thing.
Yeah. When you see these politicians taking these big contributions, you know, and then the Supreme Court, I still can't believe that decision from a few years ago where the Supreme Court decided that corporations are people.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a bumper sticker that I really loved after that decision, because that was such a god-awful decision. I hope this court will revisit that and change it, because they're not people. There's a bumper sticker that came out after that that said, "I will believe that a corporation is a person when Texas executes one."
Oh, oh man.
Yeah,
That's pretty
exactly.
wild.
And if this corporation is a person, what color is this corporation? What race is this corporation? You know, this corporation isn't having to deal with anything that you're having to deal with out there, people. They're owned by stockholders.
Yep.
You know, and then you got corporations that are owned by stockholders that have made investments. And then when a stimulus package comes out, we see these corporations
just raking it in for me,
for the benefit of their investors who already have plenty of money, or they wouldn't be invested in that corporation. And when it came your time to get the money, have you gotten it yet? Most of my people still haven't, Jonathan.
Hey, it's like we talked about last time. They're sending them out in Walmart gift cards now.
Yeah, right.
Ran out of money, folks. We're doing Walmart gift cards.
We're going to send you to Walmart, and this government wants you to go to Walmart without your mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you, the sock puppets are busy.
Sock puppets?
Sock puppets. That's a word that the CIA knows. Sock puppets are fake social media accounts. Now, it might be a real person's name and a real person's picture, but before I accept a friend, I usually scroll. I go look. I don't just go accept.
It's a profile, 6 months old, that kind of thing.
Yeah, or it's got 3 little pictures that are all in circles. Some reason those sock puppets like to put their pictures in circles, you know. And you scroll down far enough, and then you're going to find Korean writing or Russian writing, or guys standing by a hut in Nigeria or Ethiopia.
Like it's weird.
Yeah. And they go back to the profile picture and it's some cute girl, you know? Yeah. So, no, these sock puppets have been busy. I had, and when I find a sock puppet on mine, I delete them right away. I unfriend them because they're not real people. They're there just to try to change your opinion on something. They're there to try to undermine our government. They're trying to undermine our democracy. Some are working for Korea, some for China, some for Russia, and some are just anarchists, and some are just buttholes. You know, like these guys living in their mama's basement with their computer, just trying to give everybody else trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out there.
You know, and I had 2 sock puppet posts yesterday. Each one was a different picture, a different profile, but it was the exact same post all the way down. And it was about how the masks don't work.
Really?
And you're just giving in to the government. You're becoming sheep. And here's why the masks don't work. And I know they don't work because I'm an OSHA certified safety inspector.
Right.
Right.
It's totally fake.
And both of these guys were claiming to have the same credentials, and they wrote the exact same things. about why this mask doesn't work, that mask doesn't work, this mask is spreading more germs than it keeps, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, people. Do your own research.
Disinformation, Vic, and
Disinformation.
It's what you said. It is coming from these nations like Russia, coming straight from the Kremlin. And yeah, and we talked about this in a past episode about what disinformation was and how it spreads. And the issue is someone who's not knowledgeable will see a post like that and they hit that share button, dude, and it just goes viral. And next thing you know, you have something that was created as a method to actually cause mass hysterias, just spreading like wildfire, man. Just it's crazy.
Happening.
Yeah, it really happens. It really, truly happens. And that's great that you had those two examples.
I know.
To actually say, oh, actually, here it is.
So I unprinted both of those because I knew
they're fake.
They were sock puppets.
Yep.
If you never watch Homeland, go back and watch Homeland. It's a pretty good show. And they have several episodes from 1 or 2 seasons ago dedicated to just these sock puppets and these think tanks and how they're trying to get people to where they don't know what the truth is. That's what brought down the Greek democracy.
True.
The sophist. They got so good in their arguments and in their counter arguments and not caring what was true, just caring about a good argument and perpetuating a false meme, that they couldn't tell what was true and what was not anymore. And that's what caused the Greek democracy to crumble and fall from within, just like ours is going to do, because we're so damn lazy, we don't care about checking the facts. Check the facts, people. Don't be a lazy butt. Check the facts before you go spewing that stuff. Even if it agrees with your opinion, don't put something out there that's false. And get the sock puppets off your Facebook feed, and don't reshare those lies.
Don't do it.
I had a great idea just sitting here just now. We might ought to do this, and I'm going to put it out there so that if anybody else wants to do it.
What are you going to do?
We could have another product for sale. I was thinking about a red mask. A red one that says Make America Well Again.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I'll send one to President Trump. Maybe he'll wear it.
He doesn't want it.
Make America Well Again. Those masks work best if everybody's wearing them. You don't have to wear them in your house. You don't have to wear them outside unless you're close to people. But when you enter a building, when you're around somebody, now Jonathan and I are really careful. We don't see anybody, and we're sitting here and we're 6 feet apart.
We are.
When I came in the building, I was wearing my mask.
Yes, sir.
When I picked up the mail, I was wearing my gloves. So take care of yourself, people. Stay well. So anyway, thank you, John Harrell, for letting us know that
is much worse than we thought it was.
Worse than we ever thought. Is 21 trillion. Now that the Republicans are in there spending all this money, why aren't you bitching now? There's enough money in this economy and in this government that we can take care of everybody if we just quit fighting these useless wars.
Yeah, there's that.
Now, wars used to happen because these imperial nations, these dictators like Napoleon and some of those from the past, that was their commerce. That was their economy, was waging war. True. One nation waging war against the other. It kept people busy. It kept people in jobs. It kept people making armor. It kept making, and then when they went and conquered a place, they took the spoils. What they didn't destroy, they took.
Right.
Well, now when we go and mess the country up with a war, we spend money to help rebuild it.
We rebuild the infrastructure.
And it's not the imperialists fighting each other anymore. It's this small little group at the top, the military industrial complex, people that are selling weapons to this country and to the countries we fight. And the only people benefiting from these wars is the military industrial complex. We need to learn to deal with our conflicts differently, and let's quit making these super, super evil rich people even richer. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So all you guys at the top, quit spending that money on these useless wars and legalize marijuana and tax it. It would solve so many problems.
Definitely chill people out.
Yeah.
Well, we have some updates, Vic.
We do.
Lay it on me. And you actually emailed me this, and I was like, woo!
I know. We've been talking about Lilie Hefele for a couple months now.
Yes.
Ever since the 40th anniversary of her murder. Mm-hmm. And I believe she was murdered in Waco, Texas.
Right.
There's law enforcement people here in Waco who says, no, she was murdered in Fort Worth. Well, they're saying that just because they don't want to have to deal with it.
Right. And that's where her body was found, was in her car.
In her car. She had nearly been shot in half.
Oh, my God.
And there was no blood in that car. So now tell me, how do you get nearly shot in half and there not be any blood?
Well, then imply that the blood had stopped pumping.
Well, what that means is that she was moved after she was dead. Yeah, it had stopped pumping. Your heart's got to be pumping for that blood to come out, unless it's just a little bit of an ooze. But there was no blood spatter. There was no flesh anywhere. You know, and she had bits of flesh just knocked out of her. She couldn't even have an open casket funeral.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. So the update, my secret sources in the courthouse, not secret sauces. I'll leave that to Burger King and all those places. Secret sources in the courthouse. And thank you guys. I'll never divulge who you are. But my secret sources tell me that the DNA on the Lilie Hefele case is now at the Department of Public Safety State Police Lab.
Yay!
Yay! It's
what
about
we wanted
time.
All along.
Instead of sitting in a bag in a file in Fort Worth, because everybody knows that's been listening to us that whoever killed Lilie Hefele snuffed out a cigar on her dead body, and left the cigar there. Well, they didn't have DNA back in those days, so whoever did it thought, oh, this is going to be cute. Well, that cuteness just might get you caught because that cigar is now down at DPS.
Down at the crime lab.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, my sources said the DNA is at DPS. I hope they sent the right DNA, not just some scrap of the car or something like that. I want to know, is the cigar down there? And my source doesn't know that.
Gotcha.
I want the actual cigar tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that'll have this guy's spit all over it. That'll have his DNA in it. And so hopefully we'll know someday who killed little Lilie Hefele. And I guarantee it's going to be here. It happened here in Waco.
Yep.
And it was over that $300,000 life insurance policy.
Yep. There's
that
motive.
Her German husband had gotten her to take out just a few months before.
Man,
this young woman who ran like a little beauty salon, and suddenly her husband's wanting her to buy $300,000 in insurance, and then shortly after that, she's dead. And it's also rumored that this husband of hers had some major gambling debts.
Ooh.
And that money went out of his fingers pretty darn fast to take care of those gambling debts.
Wow, man. Well,
so,
there's motive.
Yeah, so there's motive. Not only for the husband who hauled ass back to Germany.
Oh,
and we have listeners in Germany.
Right. He actually left the country, right? After the murder.
He did. He left the country. And then we also need to look at the people that he owed the debts to.
Yeah.
Who did he owe those gambling debts to? So, Barry Johnson, Parnell, Waco Police, do your job. Do your job. Even if this is somebody that you're related to or do your job.
And to me, too, Vic, it's kind of low-hanging fruit, man. You have a cold case, and you actually have DNA. Just test it and be done with it.
Just test it and be done with it.
Be the hero. It's low-hanging. It's not like it's a totally cold case. No witnesses, no evidence, no nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually have something to go off of.
We do. And, I could be wrong with my theory.
Could be wrong.
I could be wrong. That DNA might come back and match to somebody else. Just like how they found the killer of Rita Salazar.
Yep, Rita Salazar.
That was just an accidental match on somebody that had never even been a suspect.
Right.
And now that person is in prison. So thank God for that. And we're still going to have Rita's sister,
Yes,
Nympha, on our show just as soon as this COVID situation allows.
Yeah, man.
And Nympha, if you're listening, we appreciate your willingness to be on the show. We'll have everything really prepared. Jonathan and I know that case pretty much backwards and forwards.
We do now, absolutely.
Yeah. So the only thing I can tell you, though, about that cigar,
yes,
it's not going to have Henry Lucas's DNA.
Yeah, it's definitely not. No, it's oh, God.
It's not. Another quick update is that I hope to be going to our Austin office one day next week.
Ooh, what are you doing down there?
I'm going to climb up in the attic, and I'm going to find our video on Robert Earl Williams.
Yes, it's time.
And if that building gets burglarized between now and the time I get to that video, I'll know exactly who the 4 policemen are that did it.
Yeah, right. Oh, man.
Because the way I remember that video is going to show all 4 of them standing around a big black man laying there on the ground, compliant, and all of them at the same time tasing him with 4 different tasers.
Yep.
And they tased him to death.
Yeah.
And when we get that video, we're going to put together a special program on Robert Earl Williams because his story should be known too.
Yep.
And the police that did that to him, they should be exposed. Just like the policeman that nearly beat the guy to death and put him in the hospital when I was DA.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Just like that.
Oh, he pulled away from me in an offensive manner. Oh. So I clubbed his face in about 20 times with my billy club.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got all the documents on that. We'll be going into that. I know who his lawyer was, and I don't blame his lawyer. His lawyer's just doing his job. But I know from documents we got from the city of Waco that he flunked a polygraph.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man.
He flunked a polygraph. And then the state police hired him. So ain't that
just
the way it goes?
Just shuffle them around. Like,
yeah. There was a book that came out, I think, in the 70s called The Peter Principle. And the whole theory behind that was talking about bureaucracies, whether it's government or corporations and how they work and who gets promoted and who doesn't. And the basis of the Peter Principle is that you rise to one level beyond your competence.
Whoa.
So the people at the very top, they're not even qualified to be doing what they're doing. They're not.
Oh,
and
boy.
I think we can see that right here in our country, and that's why we need to go stand in line and vote, people.
Yep.
So
we got the power.
We got the power. Power to the people. Hi, I'm Vic Feazell. During these trying times, you might want to just stay home. And at the law offices of Vic Feazell, we understand. That's why we're set up to handle your personal injury claim without you even having to come in. Just give us a call, and we'll take it from there. We can send any paperwork straight to your smartphone or computer. Don't delay, because if we don't put money in your pocket, you don't owe us anything. I'm Vic Feazell.